There's a 59% increase in unsheltered homeless today here in Phoenix. Hello, I'm Deborah Sedillo Dugan, and welcome to another City Update. The city recently launched a new initiative to address the homeless outreach and its impacts on neighborhoods. Joining us now to discuss this new initiative is Marshall Franklin. She is the Interim Director for Human Services. And Chris Hallett, he is the Neighborhood Services Director. Thank you both for being here today. I know this is a big initiative for the city and it's interdepartmental. Marshall, I'm going to start with you. Kind of give me a big picture about the Phoenix C.A.R.E.S initiative.
Sure, Phoenix C.A.R.E.S is truly a multidisciplinary, holistic approach to providing services for individuals in our community who are homeless, as well as working on opportunities to reduce the impact of that on our neighborhoods.
Oh, excellent. And that's where Chris comes in, because you work again hand in hand. So where are the neighborhoods coming in on this in the community and the outreach?
Well, we have an outreach team. Now we have 4 different outreach teams that we have deployed that cover the hours of 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. As you know, homeless is an 8 to 5 response. It requires getting to them when they are bedding down and for the evening. So the focus of this program is primarily around encampments, so we can get our outreach team to them when they're most accessible, and in order to lead with services, trying to engage them and get them to shelter or services.
Okay, this all makes sense to me. And going back to the human services part of it, because you are the services. Sure. So do you have outreach that go to these encampments, or is that neighborhood services?
No, actually that is human services. Okay. And as Chris mentioned, we have outreach teams that are out there 7 days a week from 5 a.m. in the morning until 11 p.m. in the evening, truly working with individuals in our community who are homeless to connect them with services with the goal of providing them with those appropriate resources so that hopefully we can move them from being unsheltered to at least sheltered. Community Bridges is the company that we work with to provide those services. They have the ability to really drill, if you will, to the needs of individuals in our community who may be unsheltered. So it's a holistic approach from what we expect them to do. So mental health, housing, chronically mentally ill, it covers all those different disciplines, if you will, so that as we're reaching and trying to build relationships with individuals in our community who may be unsheltered, that we're able to really do it from a comprehensive, holistic approach. And really the goal is to lead with the necessary services.
So let me ask you this, Marshall. You tag teaming with Community Bridges is also a great resource here in Phoenix. So you're tagging, your outreach folks are tag teaming with Community Bridges and actually going to these encampments and talking to folks?
Yes, that is very correct. That's exactly what Community Bridges does in partnership with other organizations and entities as necessary when you're leveraging those resources.
And it is increased. Not only here in Phoenix, but I'm sure, where do we stand with compared to other cities in this country?
There's an increase, unfortunately, across the entire country as it relates to individuals who are homeless and who are unsheltered. So we're not unique, if you will, in that perspective. But Phoenix is doing what we can, and that's why, under the direction of the Mayor and the City Council, implemented the Phoenix C.A.R.E.S program.
Okay, so I want to get a little bit more into the actual program itself. Okay. I mean, we were talking just before, Chris, about kind of a one-stop shop, Phoenix C.A.R.E.S. Tell me the difference between this new initiative. Why now?
Well, right now it's in response to budget cycle where we redeployed. We had 3 vacant caseworker positions, and those monies were able to free up and allowed us to procure 4 outreach teams of 2. So instead of covering homeless activities from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday in a normal city job, we now have 4 teams of 2 that cover the hours 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. As you mentioned, it is a one-stop shop. People can call our number 602-262-6251 option 6, or they can come to our website and use our Phoenix at your service at phoenix.gov/phxcares. We'll be able to take that call or that complaint in about homeless activities. We'll be able to triage it Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, or people can leave a message after hours and it'll be retrieved the very next business morning. But that information that we obtain on those impacts to neighbors and businesses, we could use to dispatch those outreach teams that will go out and engage them for services. It's an action-oriented response through engagement and services to better our community. After they engage with them, if they're successful, they'll immediately take them to a facility, a shelter, or services. If not, if they're noticing they're committing any kind of nuisance crimes, they can work with our police department and our repeat offender program, where they can build a case against them and further motivate them to take the services, hopefully, or to see enhanced prosecution.
What if a person actually just really knows about the services, knows about the resources out there, not committing any kind of crime, but is just kind of happy where they're at? I mean, what does the city do for that type of person?
Well, our biggest effort is to go out those who are really down on their luck and looking for services, and that's where Community Bridges is invaluable in getting those people to those services. It will oftentimes take many touches, but there are a number of people out there who are unsheltered who simply do not want services and they just want to be left alone. Unfortunately, they can have a negative impact on the neighborhoods or businesses, and that's not okay. So that's where we work with the police department. If they're not willing to come into services or otherwise take care of themselves appropriately, then we work with them in order to perhaps build a case where they're trespassing against the area. We work with property owners to get authority to arrest. It's really important for business and property owners to call these in. We don't know where the homeless are if we're not getting the calls. And these resources are best laid out if we can directly engage with them, get them into services, or get them connected with police. But the property owner is an important role in this as well.
So would you say that is the key message to residents, whether you're in a neighborhood in Northeast Phoenix, Ahwatukee, whatever, that your message to residents is call this number if you see a homeless person in your area that may need some assistance? Is that even if they're panhandling, or is it, when do you really make that call? I'm kind of...
It's really if there's an impact to the neighborhood. Okay. Certainly if there's encampments and they're staying overnight and they're leaving debris, maybe vandalism, any kind of illegal activities, certainly that needs to be called in. It's not illegal to be homeless. People just standing in the right of way is allowable. That's not a crime. We don't encourage that. But if they are creating nuisances, negative impacts to businesses and communities, where these people can be then outreached and possibly led to services, again, that's that negative nexus on the community.
And I'd love to hear, thank you for kind of clarifying that somewhat too. And Marshall, if you could just touch upon too, it's interesting to see, I mean, your human services, your neighborhood services, we've talked about police, we talked about fire. I mean, it just interconnected throughout the city, departments helping each other and kind of getting each other's back. I mean, what other departments are we working with on this issue?
And that's what's very unique about Phoenix C.A.R.E.S is it is a multi-department approach to addressing the issues and concerns both in our community and for individuals who are unsheltered. So in addition to neighborhood services, human services, there's our Parks and Recreation Department, our Public Works Department, our Street Transportation Department, our Prosecutor's Office in terms of the Repeat Offender Program, the C.A.R.E.S reference in terms of those individuals who may be doing some things that we need to address from a law enforcement perspective. It really is a multi-departmental approach to how we are addressing these services and programs in our community.
And you know, I'll tell you what, I'm real excited about it because I really feel, and that's why I had asked you about where do we kind of stand with other cities, because it is a nationwide problem. And I'd like to say Phoenix is one of the leaders in a lot of initiatives, and this is just yet another one that we are showing our true colors in helping those in need, getting them the right services and the right resources. Thank you so much for joining us both today. We really appreciate all your time and efforts with this particular issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To learn more about the initiative, you can go to phoenix.gov/PHX C.A.R.E.S. For City Update, I'm Deborah Sedillo Dugan.